In video 2, I explained why you categorize your assets and showed you how to copy the categorization set up in the Asset Valuation module into the CI3P module. If the municipality has not used the Asset Valuation module of MDW, as an alternate, the categories can be set up within the CI3P module. To generate the categories independent of the Asset Valuation module, click on Categories in the tree on the left side of the page. Select the asset type you wish to configure by clicking on the asset type. Click the View Categories button. Click the Add Criteria Set button. Select the priority from the pick list. Priority allows the categories to overlap based on the attributes selected. For example, you may want to include a category for assets using asset material and maintenance class as a priority 1 asset, and a second category for assets with asset material only to catch all other roads where maintenance class is undefined. These would be priority 2. I'll further explain priority 1 and priority 2 by providing an example later in this video. To begin the process of grouping like assets together, click the Add Criteria button. Select the attribute type and attribute from the pick list. And click Save. Once saved, the criteria must be configured. Click the Edit icon. The module knows the available values for the criteria selected and will show the results here. Select the appropriate criteria by checking off the criteria to be used or select all and click Save. Repeat the Add Criteria and Configure Criteria steps until you are satisfied that the criteria is sufficient and will produce the desired categories. Now that I've shown you how to set up the criteria, I can explain the priorities and show you how to add a priority 2 group of assets. For the priority 1 assets, I use asset material and maintenance class as the criteria for creating the categories. I know I have some road sections that are gravel surfaced and some that are low class bituminous, and they are all class 6 roads. I did not populate any of the asset records for the assets with the attribute maintenance class 6. I can now set up priority 2 using the asset material criteria to bring all other assets into the capital plan. Click on the Add Criteria Set button. Select priority 2 from the pick list and click Save. Click the Add Criteria button, select the attribute type and attribute from the pick list. And click Save. Click the Edit icon, select Gravel and Low Class Bituminous, and click Save. The module now places all assets matching both criteria into Priority 1 categories and creates separate categories for asset records that are only populated with the asset material attribute Gravel and Low Class Bituminous. In this example, if the priority 2 had not been set up, and because some assets did not have both priority 1 attributes populated, the asset records with only gravel and low-class bituminous would have been identified as outliers and not included in the capital plan. The preference is for all asset records to contain attributes matching the criteria set for priority 1. For an asset like sewer pipe, you may want to use geometric values to create the categories based on diameter. You would need to know the sizes of pipe in your inventory and how many ranges it will take to properly group them together. You may want pipe from 0 to 200 mm diameter in one category, 200 to 300 mm in a second category, and 300 to 400 mm in a third category, and so on. When you input the number of ranges to create and click Change, the module knows the maximum pipe size for the asset type and will generate the ranges which the user can modify. Once you have completed configuring all criteria, click Next. Click Generate Categories. The asset records within each category generated can be reviewed on this page by clicking the value under the Number of Asset heading, which corresponds with the category you wish to view. Once you are satisfied with all of the categories, click Finish. Whether you copy the assets from the Asset Valuation module or generate the categories within the CI3P module, the assets are now ready for the next step in asset configuration, adding strategies for repair, renewal, or replacement.